Hey everybody, you guys have been asking for an Infinity War update. They just confirmed a whole bunch of Wakanda stuff that they're filming right now. And surprise, surprise, look who showed up, the Hulk. So I will explain the Wakandan Hulkbuster from the comics. Yes, you heard that right. Black Panther has his own Hulkbuster. It's made out of vibranium. They have crazy advanced technology. Of course they're going to have countermeasures for the Hulk. So why don't we bring the Hulkbuster giveaway back? It'll be for the Iron Man Hulkbuster, but you get the idea. All you have to do to enter is just be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
And when I say they're filming Wakanda scenes right now, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. But let's start with the big stuff. Banner sharing scenes with T'Challa. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that he'll be Hulk because he doesn't have the dots on his face. But this just confirms that he's already back on Earth, and because he's persona non grata in the United States, he's a megaton nuke as described by General Ross.
Tell me, Captain, do you know where Thor and Banner are right now? If I misplaced a couple of 30 megaton nukes?
He's probably going to try and spend as much time with his out-of-the-country friends as possible. So we can also talk about how Tony Stark is going to try and recruit Black Panther for the Avengers initiative, because even though he fought on his team during Civil War, does not mean that he's part of the Avengers. He's rich enough that he could fund his own Avengers team all by himself without any of Iron Man's help. But I know there's all kinds of questions about how does he get back to Earth? What happens after Thor Ragnarok? There's so many things that haven't happened yet. We don't know what Black Panther's doing after the Black Panther movie, even though that's the last movie for Infinity War. So whatever is going to be set up on the Earth, that's going to be happening at the end of that movie. And I think we can just assume, based on the course of events, that Hulk and Thor will set things right, or relatively right, because Ragnarok is such a big concept in the Thor comics. It's literally like a cycle of death and rebirth, where some of the gods die and get reborn, some of them live on. It's sort of like a retooling of the universe on a very cosmic level. But it looks like they're localizing most of that to Asgard, so any of the repercussions of Ragnarok will probably be referenced by people like Tony Stark on Earth, but it's not like some giant blast wave is going to come annihilate everything. That's really where you get into Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet things. That's where you're affecting things on a universal scale. So let's just assume, as of the end of Thor Ragnarok, that Hulk makes it back to planet Earth, but he's still not on good terms with anybody in the United States. So like at the beginning of the Avengers movie when they first recruited him, he was trying to keep as low profile as possible.
Should have got paid up front, Banner.
You know, for a man who's supposed to be avoiding stress, you picked a hell of a place to settle.
Avoiding stress isn't the secret.
Then what is it? Yoga?
You brought me to the edge of the city. Smart.
But the really cool thing is that now that we have Black Panther and they've sort of opened the doors on Wakanda to outside people, is that Black Panther is sort of a stealth science bro that you never knew about. People like Shuri, who've already been confirmed to be Tony Stark level geniuses. There's all that going on in Wakanda, so it's this place of learning and science. Why wouldn't Banner go there if he needed somewhere to hide out? So just assuming for now that most of their Infinity War scenes are a lot like what you saw Tony and Banner doing at the beginning of Avengers Age of Ultron. They'd been sharing lab space as science bros, so what we saw at the end of Captain America's Civil War, we have Winter Soldier, we have Captain America, we see all these scientists running around in the background. So there's just a lot of extra lab space in Wakanda that Banner could take advantage of as they're studying things. So this is all separate from what's happening in Infinity War, because the whole idea of that movie, just trying to squeeze as many references in as possible, he saw the vision that Scarlet Witch gave him of the Chitauri invasion, the destruction of everything. This right here is the thing that they teased in that Infinity War teaser that they dropped earlier this year. You're looking at the vision that Tony Stark had, only it seems like it's playing out again. So what it sounds like is happening is that we're just going to revisit that Tony Stark nightmare. But this is Sanctuary, the place where Thanos' throne was during Guardians of the Galaxy. He knows something's coming. He doesn't know exactly what Thanos is yet, so he goes around recruiting all the Avengers. Black Panther is still dealing with what's happening at the end of his movie, cementing his rule as well as his role as Black Panther, because that's the whole idea, being a good man, but also being a king and being the Black Panther, this Avengers level hero. So like you've seen me use this Black Panther picture where he wields the Infinity Gauntlet from Secret Wars, the big comic book event a couple years ago. I think he's one of the most likely candidates for wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, like him, Captain Marvel, or Spider-Man, because you give the kid the ultimate power, he needs the ultimate responsibility. There's just so much fun that you can have with that. But if there's going to be anybody to wield the gauntlet, it will be the most responsible, most secure person. And it just feels like that's what Black Panther's movie is all about, is securing his identity as well as his ability to lead other people. As for the two of them actually fighting each other, Hulk and Black Panther, there have been a couple times that they've gone at it in the Avengers comics, going all the way back to the classic lineup. But during the recent Civil War run, they put Black Panther in a Wakandan Hulkbuster. So just like the Iron Man Hulkbuster, it's designed to counteract the Hulk's powers, but they learn about a couple new twists. So this version actually takes the Hulk's power, amplifies it, and feeds it back into him. So it's like this giant feedback loop, because the madder the Hulk gets, the stronger he gets, the more force he exerts on Black Panther's Hulkbuster, the more power it stores up and feeds back at him. But the whole idea is that the Hulk's rage is limitless, so Vibranium Hulkbuster is still no match for the Hulk. And in addition to that, there's a lot of circuitry inside it, and we learn that the Hulk has a new ability that we haven't seen before, where he gives off gamma radiation as he gets madder and madder. But as a consequence of that, like the next logical step, is that he can give off an EMP. So as he gets madder and madder, like the field of gamma around him grows and just fries electronic circuits. So that is why no matter which Hulkbuster you use, Iron Man's Hulkbuster or Black Panther's Hulkbuster, you will always lose unless you can get the Hulk to calm down. But because this is Infinity War, what you want to see is Hulk fight Thanos. And in the comics, they did fight during the Infinity event. Thanos still put him down for the count, but not after Hulk gave it to him pretty good. It's almost like him soaking a full blast from Black Bolt. Like he screams right in his face. Thanos eats it like it's no big deal. Like he cracks a couple teeth and that's about it. So that is how powerful Thanos is without the Infinity Gauntlet. He has the Deviance gene, so he has a lot of his own natural abilities. It's sort of like Darkseid without the anti-life equation. Both very powerful beings in their own right, but then on top of that, they gain extra power that just makes them universal big bads that nobody is able to fight. So what I'm expecting from most of these scenes that they're teasing here is that they'll just tease them preparing for the threat. The Avengers movie is a good example of that. You rewatch some of those scenes from before he changes into the Hulk. For most of the movie, he's just Banner, and this was Mark Ruffalo's first time as the Hulk. So you're like, when is he going to turn? When is he going to turn? We've seen it in the trailer. But sure enough, as you're entering the third act of the film, boom, he blows up and starts wrecking the inside of that helicarrier. So let me know, Hulk's hanging out in Wakanda. What else do you want him to do while he's there? Will he study more gamma radiation? Will he learn things from Black Panther? And obviously, Dana Gurira's character is part of this too. They just confirmed that she was in the Infinity War cast. They'll be in Wakanda, so of course all those Black Panther characters will show up. But because the film is going to be jumping around to places like you've seen all the stuff that's happening in Scotland with Vision and Scarlet Witch, they've been filming in that big cathedral where it seems like everybody's going. They're just only going to be spending a portion of the movie in Wakanda or any of these other places. So it's not like they're going to have everybody from the Black Panther movie. But either way, it's going to be badass. We'll probably see our first teaser at Comic-Con. Hopefully they release that publicly. Sometimes they only show for Hall H. They did that with Guardians of the Galaxy last year. But in other really big cosmic news, they just confirmed that Jessica Chastain is going to be the villain of the X-Men Dark Phoenix movie. Now, they quoted her as playing Lilandra, and she's technically not a villain, so I think they're just using the term villain in a very broad sense. She's more of an antagonist, but I'm so excited. I bet Laura Shula Donner just texted her this picture and asked her if she was in. Yeah, totally in. But I'll do a video about that next because it just confirms that they are going full Shi'ar Empire, which I think is a good move for the X-Men universe. But I'll just continue the giveaway when I post that video, so I'll announce the winner when I post that. So that'll be later tonight. Should be up in a couple hours. While you wait for that, you can click here to rewatch the Black Panther trailer, and you can click here for brand new Flash. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you tonight.